Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. If you've been here for the last two sessions, we've had a great start to the morning. I can't believe it's like past lunchtime already. It really does fly. If this is your first session, welcome. It's very nice to see you. Just a couple of housing things here, housing rules, not really rules, but you know already, if you're a subscriber, you can ask us questions. So if you go to the live comment section throughout, please ask Tree questions as I bring her in, and ask throughout. Don't save them all to the end, because there is a slight delay when you ask a question and we might miss it, which is not what we want to do. Also, if you are a subscriber, we have partnered with backstage.com. You can go into the community area, and in there's a link that will take you to Backstage, and they are offering new users in the UK an opportunity to have build your profile, and you will get 12 months free access to backstage.com, which is amazing. So without further ado, let's bring in Tree. Hi Tree, how are you doing?
Hi James, I'm doing very well. How are you?
Very good, very good. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to be here with us.
Very welcome.
I'm going to talk all about you, and I have my set of questions here. You know, but you know, you cast across TV, film, commercials, music videos. Actually, you did a music video. I can't remember. I think it was directed with 32, and you had Glenn was your lead.
God, yeah, I have to say, major kudos from my children at the time. I had two teenage sons, and it was chase and status, and it's such. I mean, my sons, who are now 23 and 20, brought it up the other day and said, "Oh God, remember you did that great video?" But yeah, and the funny thing is that I kind of see not so much. I can really see. God, what's the name of the guy whose program was taken away from?
Oh yeah, Jeremy Kyle.
That was it. I can see. That's Jeremy Kyle.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Well, I did Whistle Down the Wind with Glenn a long time ago, in like the last 99, I think it was 2000. So I know Glenn well. Fantastic. So let's start with you from the beginning. Why casting? How did you get into casting? You know, tell us where it all began for you.
Okay, so I was an actress for 15 years. And obviously, as most actors know, you do lots and lots of different jobs. And I'd worked in the record industry, and I'd worked at a really trendy model agency. And I was the men's booker, and then became head booker. And I just did loads and loads of different jobs. And then I had good career as an actress. You know, I'd been at the National Theatre, I'd done Prime Suspect, Trial and Retribution. But, you know, it was spread out over the years. There was never enough to make money. And then I had my first child, and I ended up being a single mum. And I thought, oh, I need something a little more substantial, because what had happened is I'd gone up for a major role in a soap, and it had been down to me and this other actress, and she got it, and she was absolutely great. And I thought, oh gosh, is that my career now? Possibly soap for 5 years, and then I'm in the soap graveyard. Do you know what I mean? Not able to get work. So I thought, I need another career. And then a friend of mine who did fashion casting asked me to go and help him. And literally, I was sitting on the floor of his living room, going through Spotlight books, putting Post-its in.
Oh, yeah, brilliant.
I can do this standing on my head, literally. It just felt like, oh my God, this is a job that's brought together everything that I know, because I knew all the agents, I know all the model agents. And so, so I started off, and the thing is, when you start casting, you know, you do small music videos, you do things for very low, you're pulling favors from everybody, and then it builds. And I have to say, I thank my lucky stars. You know, whenever I'm on holiday and I'm looking at the universe, I'm going, thank you for my. So it's been really good for me, and I've managed to raise 2 children single-handedly while having started a company as well. So it's been very good to me.
And so with regards to, like, you came into the fashion, how did you then move into like screen work? Was that an easy transition? Was it through the music videos, because often they use models and things like that? How did that happen?
I think for me, I made a decision that if I'd started in my 20s, so I didn't start casting until mid-30s. And then I made a decision at that point that I wasn't really quite sure. I wasn't going to cast drama. And the reason why, there were a couple of reasons. First of all, I felt I'd be too bitter and jealous as an actress. And that every script that came into I thought, I could play that. I could play that. So that was one of them. The other thing is that there was a job being offered by a major television company, and it was their casting director, and they wanted them to go all over Britain, do everything, and they were paying 17 grand a year. And I just thought, I can't exist on that. So I was kind of too old to go in and start assisting at quite a low level on the drama aspect.
Yeah.
And then I realised that some directors, the more time that they have to say, oh, can you find me this? Can you find me that? Oh, he's great, but can you find me, he's not perfect. Can you find me the perfect one? And I know with me that, after a while, I would go, I found you 5 people that are great. What's wrong with, and I just thought maybe drama's not my one. So, So I think the music videos do seed into commercials, because I think what you have to remember as an actor as well is that the directors who are directing music videos are then going to go on to direct commercials, and then they're going to go on to direct television or film. So everybody is on a path. So I never poo-poo commercials, because I feel that you're working with a director that, and this is from an actor's point of view, you're working with a director that then could go on to do who knows what, and you might have a working relationship with the director by then. And I think that's very important. And one of the other things I feel quite strongly about casting, which I went through a big thing going, I'm not exactly saving the world. I'm casting commercials. And I went through a little bit, and then I thought, well, actually, wait there a second. The thing about commercials is that with our push for diversity and showing, and getting people on screen into people's living rooms via commercials, that someone's making a cup of tea, and at the corner of their eye, they may be seeing it's in their living room. Diversity. And how we are accepting in our society. So I've managed to persuade myself that actually we do a very worthwhile job.
But I totally agree. And I think, Rosie and I talk about this all the time. And I spoke about this when I was an actor. I was very vocal about this. I was an actor for 19 years myself. And it's that thing of that where sometimes in our industry we can think some things are better than the other, and we choose to hierarchy where things sit, and the only people that hurts is our industry. And it's always confused me why we did that, why we do it as actors, that musicals are this and plays are that, and or the National is that, and this theatre is this, and we do this in TV. There's rubbish everything, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? There's good work and bad work, and that's really what we should be focusing on.
And I will say as well that I have found in casting that sometimes you get people from the top agents, and they are no better than people from new agents who might have heard of, co-ops, anything like that. It doesn't mean because you're with a big agent that you're necessarily a better actor. And
Right.
that's one thing that I found, and then you get these gems that are coming through that, they do a good job, and then the best agents come and swoop them up. But, I think you have to take the snobbery out of it, James. Exactly.
Definitely. When so you're doing music videos, commercials, or what was your first screen job that you got? What was the very first one? Do you remember?
No. At all, because we are talking 25 years ago.
Was it a music video? Was it commercial? Was it a drama or a short film?
No. It'll be music video. It will be music video, and then slowly into commercials. It might have gone via idents, but I suppose it's difficult when you start off, because obviously what you're doing is they go, we've got £300 to cast a commercial, or not to be a commercial, but cast a music video. And then you've got to try and find people who are willing to work 16 hours for £100. So, that's where you cut your teeth. So from what I can't remember my first job, but I'm sure it was probably a music video, and then moved on from there quite quickly, really.
Yeah.
But I think today, in a one level, it is, having set up the Casting Directors Association, and we are an organisation that, we can offer work experience and mentorship. And there's so many of us now that are all connected that I think on one level it's kind of easier to get an assistant job now. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because obviously
Yeah.
we have CDA website where you can,
Yeah.
you know, got assistants up there and things. So yeah, as you know, because you're the website.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it is easier to sort of get to, I mean, certainly even when I graduated, there was it was very difficult to even communicate with casting directors across theatre, TV, film. It was like, you know, it was very difficult to have that communication. With regards to the commercials that you do, we've done a few commercials ourselves, and I have to say that it's like you were saying with the drama, it's a different kind of, I think if it's your personality as well, doesn't it? It's a different kind of pace for us.
Fast and
And
Furious.
I'm not sure I enjoy it. I'm not sure it's an enjoyable experience for
Funny, isn't it?
me.
I think you're exactly right, James. I think it depends on your personality,
Yeah.
and it's made me realise that I do like fast. I like fast work, and I like it. I mean, the one thing is, I mean, the thing about commercials is you have to keep so many more people happy. So unlike drama, it's not really just the director and the casting director making the decision. You've got a lot of other people in the mix. You've got the agency, you've got the client, you've got the creatives who are part of the agency, and the director, and they all have to agree. So we see more people for the role, but you know, I usually nail it in 1 4-hour casting. Do you know what I mean? At a push, they might give you another 4-hour casting, but I usually nail it in the first 4 hours, and I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I like the fast and furious aspect. It's 3 days. It's you get the breakdown in, you get the breakdown out. Maybe 2 days later, you're holding a casting. We're talking old world now, not new world, because obviously now new world it takes longer. Because
Yeah.
what it used to be, you'd send the breakdown out on the Monday, the casting would be on the Wednesday. By Tuesday morning, you're calling people in for the Wednesday casting, and so you know 4 days later, your job's done. So the downside as a casting director, you're going to get a lot more jobs in if you're just doing commercials than if you're doing drama, because the drama one spreads out more. I guess you get paid more, but for commercials, you know, you're trying to get in 2 or 3 jobs a week. So I think, yeah, I think that's. So now in this new world, obviously everything takes a little bit longer because you know we have to give people time to self-tape. So rather than you know, you put the breakdown out, you'll get the suggestions back, you'll go through, you decide who you want to see, but rather than having a casting the next day, I like to try and give people at least 2 3 days or maybe even a weekend to get the self-tape to me, because that's the first casting.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the other thing that we're finding, because we are working on a couple of projects at the moment, is that so many people are still furloughed. So that there's this delay of communication as well, which is like, oh, you know, normally you pick the phone up, you get onto them, and you do so much in like a couple of hours. Now it's like a couple of days, and you're kind of rocking.
Furloughed the agents, or
Yeah, so I think it's some agents are furloughed, but also with regards to actors, just what they're doing, their lives have changed completely. They're not necessarily, you know, they have all sorts of jobs, and not, you know, some people we've dealt with have actually had family who've had COVID and all that kind of stuff. So it's I think it's just a different kind of environment to be working in. But that's not to say it can't still be an exciting environment moving forward. Most definitely. There's somebody say if you're watching and you want to ask questions, feel free, do that as we go. You'll see the live comments box. That is if you're a subscriber. So please get the questions coming in now. So when you put a breakdown out, we've been talking a lot about with different casting directors on here and just generally about labeling, and when you send through your footage. So let's say it's a self-tape for a commercial or a film or whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. Can you just sort of go through the importance of the way someone labels it and also the way they send it through to you? Because you know, do you get it all yourself, or do you use an outside source?
So now I use an outside source.
Right.
So I use an outside source for them to upload all the self-tapes onto a link.
Yeah.
And because it's so time consuming going through all the weed transfers. But you know, what actors have to realise is that they, you know, it's part of the job now. Their job, the casting and the whole audition sort of vibe is changed now. So when you're going in and saying, "Hi, I'm so and so, here my hands," so you have to think that ident now is, obviously you might have the filmed ident in the self tape, but you must put your name, your agent, and if possible the role, so that you've got that. Just three things to remember: your name, your agent, the role in the title of it. Because what happens is if we send it to an outside source and you've got an agent and then you've got a tape and it's like 376m dot mov, you know, are you expecting somebody who is, you know, uploading it to find out all the information and put it on? And I think casting directors are getting to the point going, if it's not labeled, it won't be submitted. We won't be sending it on to the casting, onto the director, because you cannot expect us to do that, because, you know, we might be getting 50 tapes in. So it's really important, and for actors this is part of your job. The other thing that you have to remember is always film landscape. Forget portrait, everything is landscape. Now, another bugbear that this outside source has is agents suddenly editing the reels and sort of putting idents at the end and changing things around. And this outside source says, agents, please don't change anything. It somehow makes it harder for them to upload, or something happens, I don't know, or something goes a bit amiss. So for my outside source, they're asking the agents not to fiddle around with the self tapes, basically. Just get it to us. And I would say, you know, once you've labeled your main folder with your name, your agent, and the role you're playing, and then you possibly do take 1, take 2. That's it. You know, if you do one take and it's great, fine. You know, if you feel like you want to do a backup one, that's fine as well. Because, you know, obviously in castings, I usually do 2 takes with people anyway. So yeah, but also my other thing is read the instructions carefully. I mean, I'm sorry about this, but, you know, obviously it's a bit more work intensive for the actors at the beginning, you know, but they have to read the instructions, and they have to read what's wanted, because if people start you know, sort of not reading, then you're not giving a self tape that is going to be as good as everybody else's, because you're not reading things properly. So it might be you've got 2 pages to read to tell you what to do. Read it.
I think that's so important, because it's that thing as well that we say that 95% of casting directors are on absolutely a level playing field of what casting is about. Then there's that 5% which makes us individuals as casting directors. So, you know, the way that you want it labeled will probably be different to how I want it labeled, or Andrea Clark, or Shakira Downey, and things. And also how you send it. Like, because of the clients that we use when we're doing self tapes, we might have someone in New York, someone in Dubai, someone in Australia, someone in the UK, and the way they want it, we always ask for Dropbox links, and we can put it all together, nice file, send it off, so that no one's worrying about downloads. But the number of times we get WeTransfers, and we can't. That means we've got to download it, and then we've got to upload it. So it's just those things as well. Everyone wants it different, right?
Can I ask you? So what you do is that when you're sending, hey, you know, can you do this, and I want you to do like this, you'll send a Dropbox link and say, can you please put your tape in that link? Is that how you do it? Sorry.
Or they just upload to Dropbox, send the link, and then we just take that link once it's watched and add it to the Dropbox that we send the client.
Oh, interesting.
So there's no downloading and uploading, and it makes life very easy for us. And then if they want to download it, you can download it.
That's interesting, because sorry to interrupt. That's why we an outside source, because I can't sit there and download a 50 WeTransfers.
No. And the other thing for us with WeTransfer, because again, it's because you have to download it in a certain time, right? Yes. It might be that we're not working on that project for 2 weeks. We're collating, put the breakdown out, we're collating all the tapes in. They will get filed, but we're not viewing them. So if the WeTransfer, and also just all that downloading and then all that work to upload on ours, if you just send us a link, then when we get to that link stays live for forever. So that's why we do it. But a lot of casting directors or directors want to watch offline, which is what's brilliant about WeTransfer, that you can download it, and then in your own time you can then sit. But it's important, isn't it, to really read the instructions as to how each casting director wants that information sent through.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. The other thing, just whilst we're on labeling, what I've realised, and I don't know whether this is part of it, but we were doing a project, and just recently, it wasn't a casting as such, but it was just like a monologue, and people were sending through WeTransfer, which was fine, and we downloaded them, and when we downloaded them, the file. So let's say you're on your laptop on your desktop, and you've loaded it on there, ready to WeTransfer it. They haven't labelled that bit, so that bit is B14759, whatever it is.
Oh.
Then you upload it and you've named it whatever it is. But then when we download it, obviously that file is still B91574. So remember to label the actual footage,
Yes.
that actual bit on your laptop, as well as all the labeling on the file that you send through, or however that is. Because I think that might be where things could be getting missed. I don't know. It's very, very strange.
Yes, it is. I know. It's a, as I say, yeah, strange new world. And I think as well, it takes a certain amount. I hate to say the word training, but I think if one starts sending back, you get a WeTransfer and it's not labelled properly, you just have to bat it back to the agent and say, sorry, we can't do anything with this until it's labelled properly.
Yeah, absolutely. We have Emma has a question. Hello, I hope you're both well. I'm an actor, and I was wondering if you accept general emails from upcoming actors introducing themselves to you, including Spotlight, CV, and Showreel. Do you like that? Do you like people writing to you?
I don't have a problem at all with people writing. I mean, the problem is that it's how much you're going to get from it, Emma, to tell you the truth. Because you can send me your stuff, and if I like your look and I think, oh God, she's got a really good look, I'll save you in Spotlight in my actors or actresses to bear in mind. And also, you never know, you might actually send it through on a day when I'm looking for someone like that. I mean, that happens as well. Is if I'm looking for someone, who fits Emma's, description, and then Emma sends something through on the right day, then you go, oh, that's great. So by all means do. I wouldn't expect too much from it though, but there's no harm in introducing yourselves. I mean, it's a very, very difficult profession. And I feel with actors, it's very hard to leave everything up to an agent, because you never feel an agent selling you as much as they are, but they very probably are. You just don't know how many times they're suggesting you for jobs, and those jobs, you're not being called in for them. So I don't have any problem at all receiving emails from upcoming actors.
Yeah, fantastic. Emily asks, hi Bert, do you send all self-tapes to direct to client in the first round before recalling?
Yeah.
Be interested to hear about the process, or do you decide? So how does it work with you?
Okay, so okay, I'm going to be really, really honest with you now. Say you come into a casting for me and you just are not right, and for some reason something hasn't jogged, you're not right, I wouldn't show that to the director, because it's not fair on you, and it doesn't look great on me either. So the same thing is, if you do a self-tape, I send over 99.9%, because unless I feel that actually it really hasn't made the grade, and then I would maybe hide it. But I try not to do that, because I know that actors, it's making self tapes is time consuming. It really is, and it's a lot harder. I mean, I know, one might travel up to town and sit and wait for an hour and go, so that's 3 hours you're going to one casting, if you're thinking you're waiting for an hour and you're traveling an hour either way. But and then you put that same sort of time into a self-tape. So I do try and send them all off to the director. The other thing, which is not so great for actors, but it's kind of okay for us with this self-tape, is that we can see more of you. So I'm being really brutally honest here. Whereas if I was doing a casting session and I had 2 hours for one character, I might see 8 an hour for that role. If I'm doing self-tapes, I can see 20, I can see 22. I won't go much above that. So on one level, it's made my job so I have more choice, but it's made the actor's job harder because there's more for people to choose from. So I don't like to edit out 9 times out of 10, because what I feel, especially with commercials, is the director has sat there, they've had meetings, they've been with the creatives, they really know the ins and outs of the commercial and what they're looking for. What I get is a little brief and a breakdown that I send out. So I haven't been in all those discussions where they're minutiae of what they're looking for. So I don't really like to cancel someone out and not send them on, because there may be that something in there that the director sees that I haven't seen, because he or she has been in all those meetings. Do you see what I mean? So anyway, bit of a long-winded answer, but yeah.
No, it's great. No, and I think from our side of it, our process is on the projects that we work on is a longer process. So, like for something like theatre, like you're saying, commercials, sometimes you're doing 2 or 3 a week, and the turnaround that's an enormous amount of work. And with theatre, it is spread out, and we will spend a lot of time with the creatives through that process and learn what they know, especially on a recasting or if you've worked with them before. And we will make those first decisions. We will be that. Often we'll do first rounds without any creatives, but we are creative. And always remember, as actors, casting director, that is in the title as well, that we are there to work and try and bring out of you what a director might need, certainly in theatre and on for things where we have more time. On those commercial castings, it's just you work so hard, like to nail those roles in such a. I don't know how you do it sometimes. I really don't, but we have more time.
And I think what I also think is quite hard with the whole self-tape thing, and I think this is again from being an actor, but also, I feel, say for instance, you have someone come into the casting studio and they're absolutely great, but they deliver it and they haven't quite got the gist of it. Then I can say, as a casting director, look, do it a little bit more like that. Now the problem is with self-tapes, you don't really have that. Do you see what I mean? So what's happened is people have interpreted it, they've sent it through, and then I'm getting this link of all the uploads, and you might not have grabbed it. Now, if I have time, I would contact said actor and say, you've almost got it, but can you just do it again a little bit more like this? But whereas now that's a bit of a performance to do that, whereas in a casting studio, you just that's what you're doing there. So it's worth maybe making the tape slightly different, maybe coming at a different angle with the 2 tapes to cover it. But look, I'm going to be really honest here again. I don't know how many I'm pissing off by being really honest, but on a really selfish level, casting directors want the best performance out of the actors, and we want you to look bloody brilliant, so that when we send our casting off to the director, they go, that casting director's amazing. So we want you to do really well. There are no tricks, and as much as we can get the best performance out of you, we will do. Basically.
Absolutely, and I think that is something that's come really clear through this whole through the whole COVID situation. Having all of these conversations is how much actors are finally realizing that we need them. Without them, we can't do our job. Neither can the director. Neither can the writer. Going on to the casting, I remember when I did my first couple of advert castings, they were horrible. I was nasty. I mean, it was just like, and the room was so hot, and the cameras and just all of it, and it was so quite a small room. It was at Coptic Studios, my first place. In fact, that became like the place I seemed to go more than anywhere else. And then it suddenly dawned on me that actually now I want to get your take on this. All that it is for a commercial casting is just really engaging in your imagination and that improvisational part of you as a performer. And because I love improvisation and I've got quite an imagination. So once that clicked, and I just kind of went and thought, I'd just play as much, listen to the casting director, listen to what they want, and then just play and just kind of relax and think. Is that How do you feel about that?
What I say as well is, look, the thing about a commercial is it's selling a product. So say you've got a script, and let's be honest, it's only be 3 or 4 lines. You know, it's a commercial. I don't mind if you play with that as long as you have. Oh, I love tea. As long as you've got the sell line in there. Oh, I love PG tips. Do you see what I mean? As long
Yeah.
as you've got the sell line in there, I don't mind if you play around with it a little bit.
Yeah.
And you know, actors are so creative. They give so much. I'm sure sometimes creatives, you know, they've seen castings, they go, oh my God, that actor came up with a really good line there. Do you think we can use it for our commercial? I don't know, but you know.
But that happened to me. I did a Foster's commercial, and they wanted to improvise the last few lines. And when I was on set, and I got it, and I was on set, and they were feeding me, oh, we just want you to try these extra lines, please. And they were the ones that I improvised in the audition. I was like, they're mine. And they're like, oh, right, okay. I was like, wow, okay. And it was so fun.
You, those lines would be said by another actor.
Yeah, I know, it's serious. But it's that thing. I was in a 2-week period, I got penciled for 5 commercials, and didn't get any of them. 75 grand's worth, didn't get one. In fact, the commercial casting director called me Pencil Pearson. So there you go.
I used to have that with commercials, and it got to a point, and actors, you may understand me on this one. So I go for a commercial casting and I get penciled, but I got penciled 99% of the time.
Yeah.
And then the pencil would come off. And then I got into some strange headspace where the pencil would come on, that I'd be sitting there going, okay, but don't get too excited about this, Tree, because the pencils usually come off. And they go, no, Tree, don't think that. You don't want to put that negativity out to the world that the pencil's coming off. So I know. Yeah. I mean, you know, so it's a very, you know.
Apparently the clients I wasn't right for the clients ever. That was my thing. The directors, the casting directors, all of that. And I'd get down there, be like, yeah, this is great. And then it would come to the client, and it was a no. And I was like, oh, this killed me.
I find that a bit. I used to think, oh, because I use my hair and this, that, and the other, and maybe I'm a bit zany and I don't look like the normal blah 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 blah. But yeah, so then you try not to get yourself in some weird headspace with how you're not getting the jobs, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Salome says, thank you both for this. Amy, when someone sends you a
should we go back to Safa's just asking about doing a slate?
Oh, I missed that one. Well done. It moved.
And I just thought, Safa, it's I hope that's how you pronounce your name. Idents on your self-tapes are really important still. So we still need your name, your agent, hands. Now, I don't mind if I don't have a massive close-up of the hands for the first initial self-tape, but I want the hands nice and close to your face like that. So I still need that. And the hands for commercials is about picking up your product. Do you see what I mean? You're picking up something. I need to see, you know, if your hands, you know, you feel that you've got fingers missing, you've got warts all over them, it doesn't mean you're not going to get the job. Then we have to think of a hand model. So we want to see your hands. Now, profiles, please don't do that. That is not a profile. That's turning your head to the side. You still need to do that. And you still need to do the other side. Now, the thing is, what's a little bit harder with all the self-taping is doing the body shot. Because you either then have to do another shot, a separate shot, maybe, I don't know, completely of you long, but actually putting the camera up and down your body, I don't think is really working for a lot of the I mean, I did it myself recently, and I thought, oh God, you know, because they just kind of want to see what your shape is like.
Yeah.
So you know, you still need to do an ident, and please be clear when you say your name. That's you. You're selling yourself. Be clear. Sorry.
Brilliant. No, that is fantastic. I missed that. Thank you so much for seeing that. Brilliant. So we have Amy. When someone sends you a self-tape and you don't think they're right for that production, would you go back to that self-tape for future productions?
No, because we don't keep them. Because can you imagine? It's you know, first of all, there's GDPR. Okay, so we can't just keep your things willy-nilly. And also, I mean, obviously, one has a link. That's one thing. But you know, if you're using Dropbox, you can imagine if you've got loads of jobs on, you're going to fill your Dropbox up pretty fast, even though you're paying extra. So no, I'm afraid, you know, it's a strange one, this one, but we tend, well, for commercials, they just go. And then we do another job and we get another bunch in. So no, we don't tend to go back to that self-tape for future.
But you certainly you'll remember actors and maybe all actors in.
Yeah. And also, I suppose if there is a standout and you've seen someone and you think, oh my God, they're great. They're not right for this, but they're great. Then maybe, you know what I mean? But as you say, we remember you. That's what our job is about. And also, I'm a big one for making notes. On Spotlight, you can make notes on people. So I might have wrote a note on Amy Woodhouse going, wasn't right for this, but actually fantastic, does this, you know, look at this, and you know, so, and then I'll put you in my actor to bear in mind file, and then I can go through that on my next job. Do you see what I mean? So you're in our mind, Amy.
You are always remembered, Amy. Emily says, sounds great, thanks. Salome, my question is it okay to go through the submission list and check what my agent has submitted to me and try to contact some CDs that haven't called me in to try and get seen with them?
Okay, how do you go through the submission list and check what your agent, I don't know how you can check what your whether your agent.
I think agents, you like at the end of the month might send out, this is what I've submitted you for, to the actor.
Okay, I mean, the thing is, Salome, what you have to realize is that commercials are very specific and it's not like drama. So you could maybe go and see a casting director who casts a lot of drama, and they'll meet you and bear you in mind. But for commercials, which is what I do mostly, is it's specific for each kind of role, each job, that you could try and contact some CDs that haven't called you in. But are you saying, you know, but then you want them to see you for a particular job? So look, so I mean, I kind of think, I don't think it's ever a bad thing to try and push a little bit yourself, and that you might want to phone up a casting director and ask why you're not being seen. Is it your photograph? Now, if said casting director has got time and you've caught them at the right time, that might be great, but you might actually phone up in the middle of 3 jobs and they'll bark down the phone at you, and then you're going to feel really crap. Do you see what I mean? So you just have to be prepared. You know, it kind of all depends on the day. Like a girl sent me something yesterday and she looked great. Now, if I'd been busy, I wouldn't have called her back. But yesterday, I called her back and had a chat with her because it just happened that I wasn't busy. Thanks, COVID. You know, I would say you could contact the CDs, and if they can't see you, then you can say, look, is it something about your photos or whatever? You can ask that. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, personally.
I think to pick up on what you said is that the key thing, and you said this earlier as well, actually, the key thing is with agents is that they are there to do a job for you as well. And you don't know, this is certainly coming from our side of it, sometimes we've had delicate conversations with someone, with an agent, and said, listen, you know, maybe it could be a singing or an acting or whatever it is, a dance call, and we'll say to them, listen, they're not right, they haven't got this, they need to work on this. And your agent may be waiting, they know you, so they're waiting to inform you of that information. I think that if you haven't been called in, you need to contact your agent prior to contacting us to say, I'm being called in, do you mind I write as well? Because we want to see a cohesion for us between your agent and you. And if you certainly, if you haven't been called in for something and your agent says, listen, they're not going to call you in, and you call us, we would probably say to you, I'm not going to give you a reason why you haven't been at this time, but I can let your agent know that. Do you know what I mean? We've had those conversations. So I think you have to really analyze why, if your agent says they're not bringing you in, they saw you last time and they're just not seeing you this time. I think it's that conversation you have to have. Yeah.
I suppose what I'm thinking is if say, for instance, Salome feels her agent's put her up for 5 jobs or whatever in that 4 weeks or whatever, and that she hasn't got anything, and then you start thinking, well, what is it? Is my photos? Is there something with photos? Maybe, as Paul says, sorry, Jenny says, speak to your agent first.
Yeah, because they will try and get feedback from. They'll call Trina and say, "Listen, I've submitted. Salome, for these roles, and that's a lot. I think that's a nice way of doing it, because you've got one agent rather than 50 actors. And also the thing is, with sort of on your, if you contact Tree for a commercial, chances are she's already cast it. Like, it moves that quickly. So, you know, I think that the job as well, it's kind of a tricky one, that, but yeah, I think that's way to get to sort of think about that. Emma, again, yes, thank you so much. I was wondering, what's been your favourite project you've worked on, and also what was your favourite audition from an actor?
Okay.
I like that question.
I know. I tell you what, I find this really hard because I've cast over 1,500 commercials, and literally, you know, it just moves on. I tell you what I did recently, and I absolutely loved it because it was so different. And James, you might, well, you'll appreciate this. I tend to do Michael Gracey's commercials, and Michael Gracey did The Greatest Showman, and he was doing one, and they wanted musical theatre man. They wanted a guy that would come in, that would sing a song and do the dancing. And I literally sat there, and I had 15 minutes per person, which is unheard of for me, because usually it's 7 to 10 minutes, or between 5 and 10 minutes. So it's 15 minutes per person. These guys were coming in, they were singing, I felt like I was having my own private show of leading musical theatre people. And it bloody laugh, I have to say. It was one of those days when you said, "Okay, I'm being paid for this. It's bloody great," and the caliber was so good. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have necessarily, you know, favorite auditions. I mean, I did like that one, but it was different. But it was different from normal because it was a kind of musical theatre based. But I love it when actors come in and deliver. And then they deliver, and then, you know, and they've got a bit of personality, and they're bringing something into the room. And then we might go again, and they'll do it something differently. And you can tell I'm a chatty person, and I like people, so I like that interaction. So I don't have any real specific favorite projects or anything. Because
have you had an actor that's come in unknown, and you've cast them in any commercials, and they've gone on, and you've then seen them in, you know, a big feature film or a big TV drama or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there've been a couple like that, I have to say, and it's nice, to, you know, it's lovely to see their growth. And the funny thing is you laugh and go, well, they're never going to do a commercial now. Lost them now, but it was amusing. About a couple of months ago, I was going through my little mini DV tapes, you know, to get rid of someone, whatever, I don't know. I was just going through them for some reason to see footage of my sons, and I'd taped over a casting, but basically the footage of my sons finished, and there was Nicholas Hoult at 9 years old in my studio for a couple. I was like, oh my God, I'd forgotten completely. I don't know. Oh my God, I saw Nicholas Hoult before he was famous. So
that was amazing.
That was really nice. And I think something else happened like that with another one recently. So yeah, you know, things like that do happen, and it is nice. You know.
Brilliant. I love it. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you. This has been so informative from Amy. Safa, thanks, Tree. Oh, she's gone. We've lost Tree. She's literally left the studio. I don't know what's happened there. Oh, how interesting. Don't go anywhere, guys. She's literally popped off. So I don't know if something's happened her end with regards to her internet, or whether she clicked leave studio by accident. I'm sure she'll be back here in a moment. So I'll just carry on chatting with regards to casting. I think that there's been some fantastic questions that you've come up with here. I think it's, she's back. Here we go. Device is not connected. Okay, we'll give it a second. And I think the important thing is, if you do have an agent, it's about building that relationship. Here she is. I will bring her back in.
I touched something on my computer and you all disappeared. So funny.
I was like, oh, she's gone. There we go. I was just about to say, I'll finish off that.
No, sorry, no, not at all. Let me carry on babbling.
Yeah, no, it was just saying that I think just there's been some great questions, and I think that if you have an agent, it's about building that relationship, because an agent builds relationships with the casting director, and that's what's so great about agents. Not that we always use agents for casting things, but we build that relationship, And when we need someone and we can go to them, listen, we've got this one slot, or we're struggling with this role, or we don't have much time on this. There are agents that we trust that we can go to and say, can you send us 5 people? And we know that they will send 5 people that really fit the brief and, you know, not outside the brief and stuff like that. So I think just the importance of that relationship with you and your agent is something to grow and develop on. So Safa said, thanks Tree for mentioning me. Haha, very good. Salome, thank you both. Honestly, it was really helpful advice. Great stuff. Snea, I hope that's how I say your name. Hey both, thank you so much for a great session, learning so much. What the greatest misconception actors have when it comes to the casting process? What's the greatest misconception actors have when it comes to the casting process?
Do you know what? I don't really know, because I don't know if actors do have any misconceptions, because they're bloody scary, and you know that there's loads of competition. You know, my thing about, and especially about commercial castings, is you kind of have to let them go as soon as you've walked out the room. You know, as soon as you've sent your self-taping, you kind of have to forget about it. Because I must admit, in my actor days, I walked down the stairs of Spotlight, and there used to be a mirror by the lift at the bottom, and I'd be looking in the mirror going, do you want a cup of tea? Do you want a cup of tea? Do you? And I was going over the line again and again in my head. And the thing is, you've left the casting studio, it's too late. Don't torture yourself. Yeah, if there's something you need to think of, think, oh, I did this wrong, did that wrong. One thing I would say, and I used to be very relaxed about this, and then I did a casting where 15 people had learnt their lines and 4 people hadn't. If you have lines to learn, learn them. Yeah, please. Because my huge bugbear back in the day was people walking in with the script on their phone and reading the script off their phone. And it's just, what you don't realize is when 15 of you have delivered and you've learnt your lines the best you can, and let's be honest, it's a commercial, maybe five lines, I'm not asking for you know, Shakespeare monologue, then you need to up your game as well, because, you know, if that's what everyone else is doing, then you know, do that as well. So now I'm not quite sure the greatest misconception actors have when it comes to casting process, because I'm not quite sure how you're all dealing with it, because we all know that it's a very competitive. And I just, as I touched on earlier, the thing about commercials where you have to be even more relaxed and step back from it is that the director may love you. You know, the creators may love you, but the client may like someone else. So, you know, what you can't go away is thinking, oh God, I wasn't really good, this, that, and the other, because it's so random sometimes.
Yeah.
Commercials, you know,
Yeah.
it can be
I think that the point you made earlier, which we've spoken a lot about, is that thing of, as an actor, when you walk in that audition room, know that the casting directors are on your side. Know that they want you to succeed. They want you to be good. We need to cast it. And the thing is that, you know, we have a limited budget as well with casting sessions, and a company might go, you've got to get it done in this space of time, because of studio costs and casting director costs and just everything that goes into it. So we don't want you to walk in and not be good. We want it. Isn't that right, Tree? We want to end the day and go, we've got it. That's amazing. We did it. We absolutely did it.
Absolutely. So yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I think that is one of the best points. Snare, yes, you pronounced it right. Thank you. That's it. True. Wonderful. So when have you had any actors? Because I did this. I've done this. I did this once in my career, and I ended up getting the job because I walked out of an audition, and I knew, like you're saying, you're looking in the mirror and all that kind of stuff. I knew that I hadn't. I'd arrived. I always arrived early at auditions, and I got to my space, and it was the one and only time I ever did this. I used to turn up. I'd be like, right, is this where Tree Petts auditions are? Yeah, great, okay, cool. What's your name? James Pierce. I'm here. And it was like, I'm not in for 20 minutes, and then I would leave, and I would go out, but I found where it is. I know where everything is. Great. And then I'd literally walk in at 2 minutes to my time from outside, but I would always want to be in my own space. This one time I turned up, And I was kind of like flustered. The tubes were really hot. It was horrible. And I walked in and they were like, oh, it's James Tree Petts. Let's say, oh, great. Okay, great. I'm not for 20 minutes. Oh, we've had a cancellation. We're free now if you want to go in. I was like, and I said yes. And it was the only time I'd ever said yes. Normally I'd go, oh, can I just go to the loo and just get myself ready? That was my thing. I said yes. And so I walked in totally in the wrong headspace. And I did a terrible audition. And I walked out and I got my bag and I knew it. And I got onto the street and I stopped and I thought, no. And I went back. And I went back to the guy and I said, I've left something inside. Do you mind if when there's a gap? And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. Next person came out and he was like, and I walked in. I said, I was awful. I'm so sorry. I really want to do this again, and I did, and I got the job.
Now you put me onto something that's I want to say to actors, and we're talking here that hopefully one day we're all going to be in studios again, and we're going to be doing this. And my thing is, if you've done a take and you are not happy with it, please say something. Please say, if you've done one take. So usually I do 2 takes. Some people do 1, and say it was 1 take, and I said, right, that's lovely, thank you. Absolutely, say to me, Tree, I just didn't feel I did very well there. Do you mind if I do it again? If I have time, absolutely, you can do it again. Absolutely. Just as James said, that casting director, let James do it again. Because if an actor's coming back and saying, I didn't do that well, I can do it better. Lovely. Show me. Wonderful. So absolutely do say that. I was just trying to think of any other sort of things that I wanted to point out with regards to casting, but definitely to ask if you need to, definitely to learn your lines.
Yeah. Definitely, I think that's a good thing. It's and if you do need to print them out, you do need a script. Please print it out. Like, oh my gosh, we've been in auditions where they've got no signal and now they can't access their PDF and all that kind of stuff. And it's so we always have scripts like in the room, but it's always a bit like.
I'll tell you what, I was talking to someone and they cast a lot of telly. And they were saying that when you Zoom and you do a Zoom meeting, they said, if you look at the screen like this, you lose something. So they actually want you to look straight in the camera. So then I'd have to raise myself a bit so I wasn't looking up. But they're saying literally, there's my camera, and then put your little sticky bit and do that and do it. And you draw people so much more in than if you're looking there. I don't know how it looked like because I'd have to make myself taller. But basically, to do that thing where you just look to the side of where the camera is and draw people in rather than looking at the screen like that.
Yes, definitely. That's a great tip. We have Cape Town Matt. Hi guys, I'm originally from the UK but live in South Africa. Welcome to South Africa. And I wondered if it's worth having a spotlight profile to self-submit for projects that might shoot here. Any thoughts? Thanks.
And you think that's really interesting because I could imagine that the production would go, oh, that's good. We don't have to pay the actor to fly out there. We don't have to pay hotel accommodation. So I don't know why I'm suddenly so bright, but I am. I like it. I don't know. I've suddenly gone bright. I don't know. My lights are exactly the same, but I've gone bright. I would say yes. I think that's a great thing. But what? Okay, so when you submit yourself via Spotlight, I wish I had it here to show you what we see. What we get is a page with 48 thumbnails, okay, with just a headshot, and we scan those thumbnails. But there is a comment box, okay. Now that comment box, which most agents seem to ignore when they really shouldn't, is the chance for you to basically say something to us that we see at a glance. So Cape Town Matt, what you would say is in the comment box when you submit yourself, you would say, hi, I'm British, I'm based in South Africa, you wouldn't have to pay my flight, you wouldn't have to pay hotels for me, can I please submit a self-tape? Boom. Because this time now, Cape Town Matt will work for you, because whereas usually if we were in a casting studio it would be different because we're doing a casting, but now we're doing self-tapes. Why not? So yeah. Now the problem is, and I'm going to be really honest again, with you actors here. A lot of time when we put out breakdowns, it gives us a choice of whether or not we want to put them out to actors who are self-represented or just agents. Now, unfortunately, there have been some trolls. There have been trolls that have photographed breakdowns and have tweeted them and have done things, and it's made a lot of casting directors very, very nervous about letting unrepresented actors see their breakdowns, and which is a shame because a few of you have spoilt it for everybody else. So I do try to, but just remember, if casting directors are allowing unrepresented actors to see their breakdowns, please remain professional. Please do what they've asked you to do. Please do not picture it. Please don't tweet about it. It's a private site, yeah? And so even if you see something and you're angry about it, it's not right that then you take that information and if you're angry about it, speak to Spotlight, don't speak to Twitter. Yeah. So Cape Town Matt, yeah, I think that's a good idea, but I'm not quite sure how many casting directors are allowing self-represented actors on Spotlight to see their breakdowns.
You could always write to each casting director, use that time to highlight that.
Yes.
You could highlight that saying, if you're casting in, and especially for casting directors that work internationally on projects, or if you're in Cape Town and that they do film lots of stuff or specific styles of films because of the landscape, find those casting directors, write to those casting directors saying, hi, I know that you cast a lot of projects, or you're casting this TV series, it's been filming here, I'm here, things like that. Be clever about it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cape Town Matt says perfect. Thank you. Emily, and do you record these Zooms your end with this new way of working?
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you what happens, because usually at the Zoom session, it's when so what happens, you send your self-tape in, and then we've got this. And this is another slightly funny thing, is the recall. There's not really a recall because I haven't actually been anywhere yet, but it's our short list of people. And then we do film. And absolutely. I mean, I think I'm not even quite sure if we have to ask you permission now. I think it's known that, I think you're told that when you go into this, it will be filmed. But yes, films are filmed.
We put that on all our breakdowns now, and everyone that comes in, even for theatre, we film everything, and just every single project we film, and then it's all deleted once that project's gone for GDRP and all that kind of stuff. But also to talk to it, if an agent says, "Oh, my client got cut, blah blah why," I can say, "Well, I can show you." Sorry. Just to say. Cape Town Matt says, that's a great idea, thanks. We're nearly at the end of our hour. Can you believe it? We've probably gone on for another one. That was so fantastic. I think great advice yet again from a wonderful CDA member. CDA is Casting Directors Association. If you go onto Twitter at CD Association, follow that, because a lot of casting directors in our association use Twitter a lot, actually, to and now, especially now, it's a brilliant way to find, you want pregnant actors or children or footballers or whatever it is. Do you use Twitter yourself? Because a lot do.
Yeah, love it. I have to say, I mean, I'm sorry, people, you will get things like saying this to save the whales and all bees. I do a little bit of that, but I do, and especially I do tend to use Twitter quite a bit, and I think it's quite a good place, and especially as you say, I see quite a lot of CD Association, CDA, sort of forwarding on breakdowns from casting directors. So and especially Cape Town Matt, follow all the casting directors on Twitter as well, so then you see what they're putting out, or on Instagram.
That's a great idea. I'm stealing that one. Yeah, follow all those casting directors, and you can find out those casting directors if you go on Casting Directors Association or the Casting Society of America or Casting Directors Guild. They're all there. They sit there, and they all have their socials. If they don't have socials on there, they don't have any. So that's a really good tip.
That's exactly it. So that's what I've said to a lot of actors: follow all the casting directors. Literally, follow them, see what they're putting out, and sometimes you can help them when they're doing one of their great big street casting jobs that you might not be around for, but you go, oh, my brother would be good for this. What, worth 10 grand? Yeah, brother, would you like to do this and give me 10%?
10%. Love it. Tree, you have been a legend as usual. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful to have you here. I'm going to take you out the live stream, but don't go anywhere because I'll say
thank you so much for inviting me. I've really enjoyed it. And actors, thank you so much for your questions. And, you know, keep your heads up, yeah? Keep your heads up. This will move on. We will stay resilient and strong as we always do. And I know with so many of you that, got to be back to that you basically, I know with so many of you that you've lost all your jobs. It will change, okay?
Definitely. Tree, thank you. Love you lots. Thank you so much.
Thank you, darling. Bye.
Oh, I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. I love that person so much. Her energy is wonderful. And I will just bring these. You can see these thank yous coming in here. Absolutely wonderful. Christopher, if you came in late, there you asked for tips on Spotlight form. Well, you just use that little box that Tree mentioned. It's really valuable for self-submitting. So do that. Okay, go and hydrate. It's time to get your jiggle on. So at 3 o'clock, we have Jiggle Fitness. The energy of this person is through the roof. I absolutely love it. I'm actually going to do this session myself. So when we come back at 5 o'clock, I will look like a wreck. And it's for all levels, but certainly go and hydrate. Thank you so much again to Tree for being here with us. And thank you for watching. We'll see you